This is a morning to celebrate music, singing music and listening to music, noticing how it works in our lives, what place it plays in our spirits. Even though an individual may not be able to sing, any community can. All communities can. This is the only profound thing I'm going to say this morning, so I'm going to say it again. Even though individuals may not be able to sing, all communities can. Because singing doesn't require on the individual gifts of any particular person. It just requires that a bunch of people get together and open their mouths. And actually, even in that community, there may be a few people whose mouths are still shut. Now, I've been involved in the field of theology and the arts for like a million years now. And one of the things I believe really strongly is that the arts are powerful and spiritual, not because of any sort of representation, in other words, because of the content, like what the words are or what the images are, but they are spiritual because that they are dealing with the basic building blocks of God's creation. All of the arts, color, light, sound, vibration, space, all of these things are at the root of God's creation and grow out of those roots. And that is why the arts are so important. Not because we sing about Jesus or see pictures of him, although that can be another part of the way that we use the arts, by looking at specific information, but because at a basic level, we're talking about the building blocks of creation, which we believe to be the work of God. So, if you think about just the physiology, the way that our bodies are built to make sound and to receive it in ways that are kind of shocking, if you think about it, really. Okay, so a little experiment. How many of you know Row, Row, Row Your Boat? Okay, we're going to sing Row, Row, Row Your Boat, and we're going to start it here. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Oh, maybe that wasn't the right key, so let's sing it again. We're going to start out up here, ready? Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. So, what is it? I mean, how many of you studied in some point, the ability to change keys? Maybe a few, yes? But just think about it. I said, you're going to sing this song, you're going to start it on this note, and the community sang that song. And then I said, oh, well, let's start it on a different note. And somehow, as a community, you were able to sing it in a different key, even if you don't know what a key is. Just think about that, and think about your ears. You know, in your ears. And okay, so this is a place where I'm really talking from absolutely very little scientific basis. Like I really know almost nothing about science, but you know, I did go to school, and I learned at some point, and I even heard this on the radio, that you know there are these tiny little bones in your ear that vibrate, and there's the eardrum, and it does some vibrating, and there are little fibers in your ear that are going woo, 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 woo. And not only do they go voo, 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 but depending on what the sound is, they do a completely different little dance. Now, how can that be? How can we take all of the different sounds that we might make, the ones that, as my friend Susan named, the sounds that are singing, the sounds that sound like singing? How can we perceive all those differences in sound? This is amazing. You know, even if you know more about science than I do. It's just amazing. And we are built to make these kinds of sounds, and we are built to receive them. Just on the radio, I heard someone describe sound as touch from a distance. Okay, so I've said two profound things. One of them, though, wasn't really mine. Touch from a distance. Think about that. This is a way that actually we connect with each other in a physical way through that amazing thing of sound vibrations. I mean, it's just, I'm in awe of it. and you should be too. It's just amazing that we can do this. It's amazing that we can sing. So, like, how many of you listen to music? How many of you listen to it on your car radio? How many of you are listening to it these days on an iPod or some other little... How many of you still do vinyl? Yeah, we've still got some vinyl crowd, and vinyl people in the crowd. How many of you find yourself singing in groups at one point or another? Well, you're here and you just did, so that's pretty much everyone, yes. How many of you studied music of some sort as you were growing up or might still be studying it? How many of you play an instrument? How many of you can read music a little bit? See? See how much we know about this and how important it is? You know, I think we're finding fewer and fewer times, actually, to sing as communities, and this is one of the ways that we are knit together, by singing together. So thank God we come to church and we sing as a community, even if we're one of those people that sings by just listening, or sings by making sounds that sound like singing, or the people who not only can sing, but they can sing parts, or people who lead singing. All of this is amazing and important because of the way it affects us. Just think of all the different things that music can do to us. It can do this, or it can do this, or it can do this, or it can do this. And in our lives together as a community, it should do all of those things. And it does. And it's important to remember that it does all those things outside of the walls of this institution. So the Spirit of God is reaching you through music all of the time and everywhere. So there was this story of the people of the early church gathering in an upper room. This was after Jesus had died. There had been all those little weird stories about Jesus reappearing to people, but they were together, kind of leaderless. They were gathered in one place, and suddenly there was a rush like a mighty wind in the place, and there were tongues of flames coming out of people's heads, and they started speaking in all different sorts of languages, and the people outside who were from everywhere all understood the languages. They were saying, how is it that I'm from another place and I can understand that? They were singing. They were singing. They must have been singing, because that is the language that's universal. Amen.